Hi guys, it's ASBYT and I've been using the Google Pixel 6 Pro now for roughly around 3 to 4 weeks, so I think I've got a pretty good idea of the strengths and weaknesses of this latest flagship smartphone from Google. On one hand, it's brilliant, it really is. But on the other hand, there are a few potential problems that I have noticed that may be deal breakers for you. Apologies this video has taken so long to drop. My 2-year-old son has been pretty poorly over the last couple of weeks, so obviously that was my main focus, but thankfully he is now on the mend, so I'm back for you. Subscribe if you're new and like this sort of content, and let's start with performance. Now, off the bat, the much talked about Google's own in-house Tensor chip has been really solid. I could go down the route of directly comparing it to the A15 Bionic in the iPhone 13 Pro Max, or the Exynos 2100 in the Samsung S21 Ultra, or the Snapdragon 888 in the OnePlus 9 Pro, Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra, etc. All of which sit above the Pixel in the pile. But I'm not sure benchmarks on phones are really as important as possibly they once were. Phone chips are getting better and better each year. They're really now so powerful. But in reality, for most people, how we use our phones hasn't really actually changed that much over the last few years to kind of match that improvement. Basically what I'm saying is, for 99% of all users, any flagship smartphone chip now is going to be more than powerful enough to do pretty much anything you want to do. Does this mean that Google don't have to work on this area? Are they off the hook? Well, no. The cold hard truth is the fact that their first attempt is good. It's great really, but it's still lagging slightly behind some of the other top flagships. So if you want the pinnacle, if you want the very best, then this may be a deal breaker for you. Now, I have found one real world issue when it comes to performance that I do find slightly irritating. I don't know whether this is a hardware issue or whether it's something to do with the latest version of Android 12 or something else entirely, but I have noticed with some apps they simply just crash, and too often for it not to be a problem for me. Case in point, one that you don't think would actually occur is the YouTube Studio app that I have had a real problem with. After a few seconds of navigating through the app, bang, crash, wallop, it crashes.
Bang! Crash! Wallop! What a video!
Now this app of course is created by Google, so this is a little bit of a strange one for me, and I have noticed it in other apps as well. I haven't noticed this on the iPhone 13 Pro Max or any of the other top Android flagships going, so in reality I'm a bit baffled. I'm hoping this is indeed a software problem and can be fixed with an update. And speaking of updates, we have of course had a significant upgrade to the battery capacity, but how has the battery drain actually been in the time that I've had it, compared to other flagships? Well, I set a drain test versus the Samsung S21 Ultra, the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra, and the OnePlus 9 Pro, and it fared pretty well. The OnePlus 9 Pro died first. This is to be expected. It has the smallest battery at 4,500 mAh, but the other three have basically the same capacity at 5,000 there or thereabouts. But the Pixel 6 Pro and the S21 Ultra were ahead of the Mi 11 Ultra and pretty close together, with Samsung offering just shading it. Still nowhere near the battery life of the iPhone 13 Pro Max, incredible, but on the Android side, this is right up there. Now, having an upgraded battery might be the reason why you're going with the latest Pixel 6 Pro, but chances are a lot of you out there that are looking to upgrade mainly is due to the camera. Pixel phones have notoriously been some of the best for standard and portrait shots over the years, and this again is no different. Every time I test a new phone camera's capabilities, I sort of often say to myself, yeah, but is it better than the Pixel? And in nearly every case, if not every case I've noticed over the last few years, the answer to that question is no. For standard and portrait shots, the contrast, the colour temperature, detail, dynamic range, edge detection, crystal clear focus on the subject even if there is movement in the scene, almost everything in my opinion seems better on a Pixel phone, largely down to the software processing. Is that slightly subjective? Well, maybe, but it's hard to argue with. And on top of the great software, they've also upped their hardware game in pretty much every way possible. Pretty much. Because there's a couple of things to do with the camera that I'm not a huge fan of, and definitely could be looked at. One of the few areas that I feel isn't quite right here is the amount of background blur in portrait mode, for example. It's a bit much. Part of this might be because we now have a larger 50 megapixel main sensor, which automatically allows in more light and increases natural background blur. They could have toned down the software blur slightly to compensate, it could be more natural, but portraits do, as ever, undeniably pop. The telephoto lens with 4x optical zoom is really impressive, again in comparison to the iPhone 13 Pro Max in most scenarios. They are really high quality, provided it's 4x zoom and higher, otherwise that lens won't be activated and all zoom will be digital. And speaking of all things activated or not, you can't activate a macro camera on here like you can on pretty much every flagship going right now, because there isn't one. Am I surprised that it's not there? You can't use it as a feature on your ultra wide angle lens. Yes, I think they could have done it fairly easily. Am I bothered? Not really. I don't, as you know, if you watch the channel, I'm not massively keen on macro photography, but again, you might be bothered. One omission that I am disappointed about is the fact there is no 4K 60 on the front camera, only on the rear. And I think it should be there. In today's society where everybody wants to stand and vlog and tell the whole world about why they think that giraffes should be house pets, then I think it should be there. The 4K 60, not giraffes as pets. Audio is decent on video, and there's also a really cool new feature called speech enhancement, which basically mutes or reduces any background noise. If you've got a lot of traffic or wind, etc., then it should help, and actually does. And I'll show you right now. Follow me. Right, so here I am outside, and it's a little bit windy, not really badly, but it's a little bit windy, so you may be able to hear a little bit of noise going on around me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to now go to the speech enhancement, and hopefully this will help. The wind is picking up a little bit now, so hopefully it will help. Right, so this is now with the speech enhancement feature on, so hopefully my voice should be a little bit clearer and there should be less windy noisiness going on around me. Let me know whether it sounds better or not. And this idea of kind of features is something that Google have worked tirelessly on over the last few years, and again with the Pixel 6 Pro this is no different. You have Action Pan, which basically locks onto a moving subject and blurs the rest of the picture, and you also have Long Exposure, which does the opposite and looks great for night, city shots, etc. You have many edit options for your images, including things like face unblur if you just miss the focus slightly, and Magic Eraser, which allows you to delete objects from your shot so you can add to the pure fakery that exists on the gram. As a package, the camera is a real hit. Some of the photos you can achieve daytime or night are truly incredible for a smartphone. The two biggest downsides to the camera from what I can see is number one, the ultra wide lens, and number two, the camera app as a whole. The ultra wide is not really actually very wide, so capturing a large scene is significantly more difficult than on other top phones, and the colour temperature noticeably shifts at times when you move between the ultra wide and the other lenses. Navigating the camera app can feel a little laborious at times due to the heavy processing that is often involved with Pixel photos, and the phone can feel at times unresponsive with a few lags here and there and those nasty crashes which can again sometimes creep up on you. Again, software updates can hopefully iron out some of those details, and you do have the very latest Android 12 here, which has seen some really cool new updates, and you will be pretty much the first to get your hands on it. The quick settings menu has seen an overhaul, and settings as a whole have been revamped and offer a slightly more Samsung One UI vibe, whether you appreciate that or not. Notifications and animations have been tweaked amongst many other small updates, and it just feels that little bit more smooth and refined. For me, I just love the fact that Google are back in the flagship game. Last year's Pixel 5 was a good phone, but it was a safe phone. Now they're back, and they're back with a bang. The three things that I've been pleading with them to add to their already brilliant camera is a better battery, they've done that, a better display, they've done that, and a more premium and better design to the phone as a whole. And they've done that as well. They've ticked pretty much every major box that I could want in a smartphone, and they've even revamped their already hugely successful camera to a almost complete package. Is it perfect? No. Can it be improved on the Pixel 7 series? Yes. But is this the best Android smartphone of 2021? Quite possibly. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Is it the best? Is there another phone that you prefer? And the age-old question, is Android better than an iPhone? Like and share if you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Hopefully it did. Sorry again that it took so long to create. Unfortunately, family life occurs, and that obviously takes priority. But I'll love you and leave you. I'll see you in the next one. Says BYT. Peace out.